that we had at Barcelona a couple of months ago. Ready to get things up and rolling for the 5th race of this European Sportscar Championship 2024 season. Waiting for that green flag to come out and waiting for that long run into turn number 1 where these drivers are going to try and go for a move. The green flag's then, the drivers are on their way. It's a big pile up farther in the back. I believe that was the number 11 LMP2 car ending up in the barrier at the very beginning of the race. Big impact into the pit lane wall, but at the front you can see some side-by-side action involving the number 43 Restec Reporter Corsa car and the number 12 Tri-State Racing Team. Meanwhile, a little bit farther behind, you've got some interclass mingling already involving the LMP3s and LMGT3s. More on that in just a couple of moments' time, but at the front of the field, it is Luca Leonardi in that number 43 Restec Reporter Corsa car leading as Ryan Ware in the number 46 Rising Panda Racing entry goes for a spin on lap 1. That was heading through, I believe, it was either 2 and 3 or 4 and 5 as a spin. Big contact in the LMP3 field. That, I believe, is the SC competition by TSR number 10 LMP3 entry, along with the W2 ePro GP team going for a major bit of drama, heading through 6 and 7. Be careful with the field coming onto the scene of this incident. There's Christian Sherrard in the SC competition by TSR LMP3 contender. Not sure what happened there, heading off into one of the fastest sections around this racetrack.
Continue just to try and stay in the hunt for those last 2 podium positions for now. And the camera angle didn't allow us to see it, but again, the NOP just getting caught by the GT3 car, and Delta Racing did take the opportunity that time. And NOP, a
couple of months ago, we saw a driver have some connection issues, and that ended up really changing the entire trajectory of that team's race, since they had to come in about 15 minutes in the LMGT3 category when usually they can run for about an hour. Look at this in the prototypes. You got the Rising Panda Racing number 47 car acting as a little bit of a pick, and this was the Squadra Veloce by ERS car that just lost out on the spot.
So we'll see how that was done. And just getting a drive off the corner, so a bit messy for Connor as they went through the previous corner, and that allowed Salvatore to really get the run, and nice clean move really before they got fully into the chicane, and then he was off and away.
Driver has made their way into the pits is the Division 1 Motorsports entry that we saw involved in that very beginning of the race, Shamazel, heading down to grab the green flag, but the drivers that are still left out on track are giving us a nice battle. That's a Rising Panda Racing number 46 entry in the LMP2 class, trying to get a move done on the Revolution E-Racing car, heading off into turn number 1 and 2.
Background going off wide whilst we're watching the LMPs, right? So is he going to get caught by the LMP2 here? He does. So that was a late move from the LMP2, it seemed like. Is there going to be further contact?
Ago, however, it's looking very good for the number 98 Donico Racing Team to try and grab their second victory of the season. Side by side, meanwhile, in the LMP3s, that's a Delta Racing number 30 car going side by side with the Squadra Veloce by ERS number 88 entry that's going to be on their outside heading into turn number 1. Is it a successful move, or is the Delta Racing number 30 car going to withstand the challenge? Looks like they're actually going to back out of it, so well done from the Squadra Veloce by ERS number 88 car. Extend that gap, and look at this at the front of the field. Tri-State Racing at number 43 having a big amount of drama with the number 16 Work Sim Racing Mustang coming out of turn number 7. That was a near disaster with the two of them, but side by side heading off into turn number 10. Luca Leonardi in that 43 car. He's been stuck behind the number 12 Tri-State Racing car, still being driven by Michael Simpson, and he is getting a little bit desperate, it must be said. Side by side heading off into turn number 12. These drivers have been oh so close heading through this section thus far in this race, and they're too close coming out of the corner, making contact. A big hip check with the 43 and the 12 coming out of turn number 12. Of pit stops is mainly with the number 22 Restec Reporter Corsa team. Meanwhile, the sister car, the 43, banging doors with the 12, getting the move done to take the lead of the race from the Tri-State Racing entry, still being driven by Michael Simpson. These two drivers, it's now 2 times in the span of the past like 5-ish minutes.
Since we just came on board at the last moments. Again, looks like that maybe Michael's going to have an issue with class in front, and he ends up running a little bit deep. That's what allows Luca to get up alongside. A little bit of a hip check again, as we saw before, and then Luca's got the move done then into the next chicane, kind of second guessing himself and running in a bit deep as a result. So we'll keep an eye on whether Michael can hang on to Luca's coattails, but for now it's gone up to over a second already, thanks to that other car that got in amongst things.
Car getting checked up a little bit with LMP3 traffic. However, I'm curious if the Delta Racing number 41 car is even going to try and force the issue. Yes, they will. Slick move heading around turn number 9, going up the hill over that blind right-hander. The presumptive lead, we should say, in the LMP2 class. However, Tri-State's got a fight on our hands between themselves and Oliver Vigizu in that NOP car, the number 89 and the number 12, side by side and making contact coming out of turn number 3. That's going to send the NOP car around into the wall. A little bit of contact, and you can see that rear wing is askew. So the team that just came out of the pits a couple of moments ago maybe going to have to make another run to come down pit lanes over the team off the back of a win at Spa about a month ago. Closing. Will we see a move done heading into turn number 1? Looks like we're not going to see a move heading through turn number 1. We will see a move heading through turn number 1. There we go. Delta Racing getting a move done, trying to get a move done at least, with the trip up from Simatech Sensations heading down into turn number 1. They're still going to be side by side on corner exit coming out of turn number 3. They're going to single file out through 4, but well done from Felipe Soner in that Delta Racing number 41 car. See a little bit of traffic involved in that, heading down into the final corner. Pierce Stockton, we're following him in the 46 car, and it was running wide for Squadra Veloce by ERS, heading down into the final corner, and that's what cost it. Oh no, the mind of a racing driver, both in real life and in the sim, is a very odd place for sure, and as one myself, I can say it's a very dangerous place as well. It is a dangerous place for all of those drivers. NOP nearly running into the back of the number 3 LMGT3 BMW, riding their way around the final corner. That was a near disaster. It was certainly a big moment for NOP as they've lost out on a couple of spots. And here we go, Simatech Sensation trying to get that move done, heading down into turn number 1 and making contact and going for a spin. Simatech Sensations around through turn number 1. They tried to get that move done on Delta Racing, and that looked very unnaturally. I think there may have been a little bit of netcode involved in that. They stayed out for about 5 to 10 laps. It was a mighty fuel-saving effort for this team to be able to go for some off-the-wall strategies that they're trying to do at this point in the race. Running second at this point in time, albeit they have yet to come in for their latest pit stop. Now going to be dropping down to third as it looks like Tri-State Racing and Thomas Marcelino is going to get that move done to slip his way up into second in the LMP2 category. They've overcome adversity thus far this season, do not get me wrong. They've had a pretty dramatic season as well. We're involved in that battle for the win in the early stages of the opening race of the season at Barcelona. However, it didn't work out too well for them. Side by side, heading down into turn number 1, a dive from Gordy Vermeulen behind the wheel, the number 29 VR Racing Mustang. They're going to be side by side, heading their way through 2 and 3 at this point. Going to have that inside line, heading through 3, but the number 3 Tri-State Racing car going to sweep around the outside, trying to carry that momentum off before they even think about getting on the brakes into turn number 4. But a pretty good challenge from Gordy Vermeulen. This is a fight that we're keeping our eyes on in the LMGT3 category. The ResTech 73 is coming up to lap these drivers, so it's not really looking like they're battling for the win in class, but they're battling for those final podium positions.
Such a difference in run coming off of that last sequence there.
Yeah, that was a pretty big run. That's a big thing with this track. It's really important to try and get a good exit. You won't really see me compare a multi-class sports car race to a Formula V race, but in the Formula V's, got to carry a whole lot of momentum in those race cars, and you're carrying a whole lot of momentum here in big crash, heading down into turn number 8, VR Racing and the number 3 Tri-State Racing car coming to blows. The number 29 VR Racing car had the run of a lifetime.
So, yeah, how much do I think Sam comes across in blocks? Yeah, I think it's going to be traffic related, I suspect. So, yeah, here we go, coming up to LMP3 and GT3 car. Contact from behind, we could hear it even though we're on board with the bonnet. Left rear quarter panel between that GT3 and the Delta Racing car, and then for good measure having to do a 3-point turn because of traffic as well. So that was unfortunate, meant they cost themselves a little bit more time, and down into 4th position now overall. See what we got. So yeah, they made their pit stop, left pit lane, and then are about to have an incident with this LMP2. So that is the GT3 leader unceremoniously taken out by the LMP2 Really unfortunate of those. Well, let's have another camera angle and see what judgment we want to make on it. But that has completely ruined this such a dominant race from the GT3 leaders. Just looked like it was a bit overeager from the LMP2, right?
Entered this race with the opportunity, and it's not an unrealistic opportunity, it is very realistic for them to seal the deal in the championship. They're not going to do it with this drama. Now we've got a fight on our hands for the final podium spots between Work Sim Racing and Delta Racing, side by side, heading down into turn number 1. One of them's in a Mustang and others in a BMW. Both of those cars are basically chunks of earth on 4 wheels around this racetrack.
Yeah, it was looking pretty congested there for half a lap or so between those prototypes coming through and the GT3s, but yeah, everybody survived, and now we can see that Delta Racing behind closing that gap back up on Walk Sim Racing in to try and have another opportunity at making that move. Such a difference in braking between the 2 cars that time, and yeah, Delta Racing, I think, just surprised that they ended up alongside Walk Sim Racing there. So yeah, kind of something for us to keep a little bit of an eye on. I don't know if Walk's limping around with a little bit of damage or something, but yeah, it was a big surprise even to Delta Racing, I think, that time into the braking zone of how close they got. But yeah, so Delta Racing looking like they're going to be taking that podium spot momentarily, as long as everybody can survive the traffic still as well.
And the ResTech Reparto Corsa number 73 team is still stopped in the box. That is, as heartbreaks go, that is pretty heart-wrenching. Looking at the fight continuing with Work Sim Racing and Delta Racing nearly side-by-side, heading down into turn number 1. They were side-by-side going down the start-finish straightaway. They single file out with a whole lot of traffic around them to deal with. Big contact there involving, I believe, the Tri-State Racing car, and that, unless I'm very much mistaken, is the Delta V Racing number 25, running 3rd in the LMP3s at this very point in time. Side by side now, heading down into turn at number 4 and 5. Looks like Delta Racing, Joao Galadado in that car, going to get that move done.
So let's have a quick look and see how they managed it on walks.
Like coming through turn number 6 and 7. Big sideways snap from the Work Sim Racing Mustang. He lost it under these wet conditions. Heading through 13 and 14 right now, hitting the paint and going for a spin coming out of the corner and hits the outside wall.
Yeah, and then the fact that they came back on track, yeah, I'm guessing that's what's so many
those
just
dry tire runners.
Yeah,
you can see them. That's 2 of them. That's the Tri-State Racing car that was slow on the outside. That's now given the lead in the LMP2 category back to this ResTech Reparto Corsa number 43 car, currently being driven by Carmine Forte. He's still leading it at this point in the 43, and you can see those cars that have had the misfortune of being out there on the racetrack under that full course yellow procedure, and this racetrack is absolutely soaked. It's like a declawed cat trying to climb up an igloo. Another moment for Sam Vaughn in the Tri-State Racing number 3 car. Declawed cats climbing up an igloo, and they can't do it well. Look at that. That is unbelievable.
Yeah, he's in 5th gear doing... Let me bring up the dashboard very quickly. He was in 5th gear at 50 mile an hour around that corner and just couldn't even turn it. So yeah, hard luck to those guys. So well done for getting back to pit lane. Same for Connor. Yeah, he just can't go around a corner. Wow. It's so extreme, them having that loss of temperature, right? Oh. So yeah, unfortunate for those guys. They've just lost all opportunity. Wow, it's just an ice rink for him.
To try and seal the deal with only one more race left to go here from the 2024 season of the European Sportscar Championship, and it looks like Rising Panda Racing is going to be the ones doing it. They entered this race with, I believe, a 21-point gap in the championship. That's looking pretty good for them. Side by side with Rising Panda Racing and ResTech into turn at number 4 and 5, and Rising Panda Racing with a beautiful move around the outside, going to get it done to take the lead in the LMP2 category. Right as I was talking about the other Rising Panda Racing car, the number 46 in LMP2 pulls off a bold and audacious move. Usually if we were running in the dry, that move, as cool as it would be, wouldn't be entirely nondescript. That move, meanwhile, in the rain, though, that takes some guts. guys, they should not bow their heads low because they've put together a fantastic show. However, they just weren't able to seal the deal, it looks like, when everything is said and done. Looking at a fight involving the Delta Racing number 30 car going around the outside of the World of Sim Racing Team 51. But looking at Ryan Ware, the Brit, in the number 46 Rising Panda Racing car, started this race with a spin. He's going to end it with a win. Ryan Ware wins it when everything is said and done to take Rising Panda Racing's first checkered flag in the LMP2 category, and he does it under rain-soaked conditions here at Mugello from the European Sportscar Championship. Had to start this race from the pit lane, but in an opportunity that they seized and grabbed in their hands, Christian is going to go on to that start-finish straightaway for the final time, and Rising Panda Racing with the number 47 team are going to be your season champions in the LMP3 category. There's a checkered flag for them. They are victorious. Meanwhile, another victorious team, Sam Vaughn, going to be going on the start-finish straightaway for the final time, puttering his way down. He is going to win it in the number 3 BMW. Well done from all of the winners in all three of the classes that we have. Rising Panda Racing and the number 47 team look to be your champions in LMP3, but Rising Panda Racing with the number 46 in LMP2 being our overall champions here at Mugello this afternoon. Oh, absolutely. We had a great day of racing action here from round number 5 of the European Sportscar Championship, and a friendly reminder to anyone who just so happens to want to stay up to date and see how these championship battles play out. You can catch the final race of the European Sportscar Championship on Saturday, November the 9th, coming up in about a month's time here on Apex Racing TV.